Hello and welcome to another episode of the Christian Reeve podcast. Today's guest is a blind multi-instrumentalist, a producer and a sound engineer with over 30 years experience. His name is James Music. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hello, yeah, I'm okay. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on the show.
It's a pleasure to have you here. You were a viewer suggestion, so thank you. I can't remember who suggested you. I do apologize, but massive thank you to whoever did. Always awesome when you get people listening to the show and there's content creators, people that they like, that they want to see on the show. So, it's awesome. I'm just going to get right into the questions, just sort of delve right into them. I hope you don't mind. We'll see where we go.
There's a lot of content. There's a lot
of ground to cover.
A lot of
sure.
parts of my life that. So you've from a TikTok point of view that I present as a musician, multi-instrumentalist, but there's lots more facets to my life that we could go into as well. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I guess I know you probably would have been asked this a million times, so I do apologize. Were you born blind, or did it gradually occur over time?
No, so I was born with cataracts
in
my eye. So when I was born, I don't know the exact details because I was so young, but the gist of it is I was born with congenital cataracts. They probably formed from possibly German measles or something that my mum might have had while she was pregnant, and they weren't too sure. But yeah, by 10 weeks old, initially they didn't even realise I was born. I was born into the world as you are. You don't normally see that far ahead of you. You see between where you need to see to get your food and all of that. And then your sight develops over a period of time. So as that happened, they realised I wasn't tracking things. I wasn't able to see. And they rushed me in, and at 10 weeks old, they were like, "Oh my God, this baby's got cataracts. We need to operate now, because there's only a so long period of time where before the brain, if the brain doesn't see any image through the optic nerve and through the eye, which is about 12 weeks, the brain will shut off and never have that pathway anymore." So at 10 weeks old, they realised. At 10 weeks old, they operated on one eye. At 11 weeks old, they operated on the other, and they just hoped for the best. But because they were fully formed cataracts, my whole contact lens was taken out and removed at 10 and 11 weeks old. So they pioneered something called contact lenses in babies with me. So I was the second baby to have this brand new treatment of they just plonked some lenses in and hope for the best. Let's see if we can get this child some sight. And it paid off. It worked a bit. I have some sort of sight that is usable enough to adapt around the world and do what I need to do. And yeah, it's been difficult through my years, through growing up. I can't say that it hasn't been, but what they did was give me a chance in life to see if maybe we could get some better vision. Otherwise it was going to be no vision whatsoever for the rest of my life, nothing whatsoever. But still, there's so many things on top of that. There's so many complications with operations and other things that I've done later on in life with my eyes that have then caused more and more problems to still leave me in a situation where I am effectively blind. So yeah, that's kind of So I have been blind since birth. I've been I initially was registered as visually impaired, but as I developed and as I realized what I could and couldn't see, they were like, "No, you seriously are blind." So yeah.
Where would the line be drawn in terms of being considered visually impaired versus being registered blind?
Yeah, so it's a difficult one. It's a real difficult one. So the criteria to be registered blind is obviously if you complete black, no connection from the eye and the optic nerve, you would be classed as blind. But there's also a scale, which is what I try and spend a lot of time educating my audience on, that there is a scale of blindness. And it's like a spectrum, just like any other like autism or neurodivergence. Like there's a spectrum of blind people, and there's only a small percentage of them that see black. The rest are this big spectrum of them that have multiple problems. And this is the key point. The key point to be classed as blind is multiple problems that impact each other. If you have three or more, I believe. So I have, so if you have three or more, you are then classed as technically blind. So I have multiple on top of each other. I have no lens, which is called aphakia. From my having those operations, I have trauma to the eye, which has caused a condition called nystagmus, which means uncontrolled movement of the eye. I don't see it, but my eyes wobble all the time, more when I'm nervous. To me, it's just like I can't focus on something. My brain doesn't see the wobble because it's always been there. And then there's multiple other things. So because I don't have a lens in my eye, when I was 21 years old, I kind of wanted to get away from putting artificial lenses on my eyes every night and taking them out every day. I did that until I was 21. I was like, I really want them to be implanted. I really want to have a chance at life that I don't have to have these lens solutions and pots and things that I have to take with me and all these precautions I have to do just to live a normal life as a young person. I kind of wanted to experience life without that. So I had my lenses implanted in my eyes. And it does sound that crazy. Like they do cut open the eye, put a lens inside and stitch it to where the muscles usually would be. So I had that done at 21 years old. And it changed my life. I feel like I've experienced life as, I guess, as much of a normal person would without having to put contact lenses in every day and wear glasses and things like that. But the downside of that is they would normally only put them in people that are older. Like your grandparents might get cataracts, they have them removed, and then they do secondary lens implants, or they adjust the lens slightly. And they might get 10, 15 years out of it. And, they're at the age where they might not need the treatment anymore because they're coming to their end of their life. I had that same procedure done. So didn't really think about it, that there was only maybe 10 or 15 years before they could possibly fail. So what's happened now is my contact lenses are still in my eyes. They've fallen out of position and the stitches have fallen. So now I'm kind of like, I've got a lens in my eye that's turned and I'm looking through that, through both eyes. So I have double vision in both eyes now until I get further operations to remove the lens and go back to wearing artificial lenses and glasses and things like that. So in a way, it gave me 10, 15 years of fun. But I now have to wait. And have another set of operations which could take possibly up to a year to recover from, in fullness of getting my sight back, before I can be back on track without this double vision. And although it will improve my sight a little bit, I'd still be pretty much classed as blind because of all the impact of all the operations, all the messing around with the eye. There's a very big risk now of losing my sight in any further operations because the structure of the eye is very fragile and delicate. And every time they go in, they have to move more. They do this procedure. I don't even know the name of it, but I always think of it in my head as it's a glupectomy. They put a little hoover in, remove more and more of the eye every time they have to operate. So there's obviously more and more complications each time. So I'm stuck in a bit of a rock and a hard place at the moment of putting up with the double vision and the impact of the lens that has failed in my eye versus a possibility of losing all possible sight that I have left. So at the moment I'm staying with the double vision's fine at the moment. I've dealt with problems all my life like this. I can adapt around it, but it is getting slightly to a point where it's so bad that I'm having to consider this operation soon.
When you say double vision, and explain it to me like I'm five for a second, do you two versions of the same thing or two versions of is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah. So sometimes on my stream, I depict like the image, like I try and show it in a thing, and it is literally like taking the image, putting it over it, and like moving it down and left a bit, but then making that completely opaque. So it's like I see two versions of things. So what happens there is like if I'm looking at a piece of paper with black text on it, say, the white lays over the black, so it becomes grey, blurred out. And I use a lot of black background and white text, like through mobile phones. Like a lot of my things will be black, but I see two versions of the white text, yeah, and they overlay each other.
I get it.
I see two faces overlay each other, and they almost merge into one. It's really, really odd to try and explain it.
I get it.
And then also on top of all my other conditions, I have because when they going back to when I was born, because the operations happened at 10 weeks and 11 weeks old, the brain saw one eye first and went, "Oh, we've got vision," and then a week later it went, "Hang on a minute, I've got another source of vision here." So what my brain did was go, "You've got two images, and you can control these independently." So I've got what's called monophonic vision. It means I can pick and choose which eye to look out of myself and control it myself. Yeah.
What did you call it again?
In my head, I've always called it monophonic vision. There's not a huge lot of literature out there on it or research, but it is called monophonic vision. You see stereophonic vision.
Yeah.
Just like stereo.
Makes sense.
Well, I can pick and choose. So what they did was they gave me fixed focus points in different eyes. So I look to read with my left, but you're blurry in my left if I was to look at you.
Yeah.
And my right eye is focused a bit further away, so I can like see faces and computers a bit like.
So you're kind of like short and long-sighted at the same time.
Yeah, but these are my focus points.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and here.
Oh, I think I kind of get it a little bit.
And then my brain knows, like, it looks at you. It looks out of my right eye when I'm speaking to you, but when I go to read something, it automatically goes to my left eye because they're focused. And I can pick and choose. Like, it's quite hard to see, but I can look at you out of my left eye, and my right eye goes off and goes lazy and goes. It just does what it wants. And then I look out my right eye, and my left one goes off and goes lazy and goes. I can't actually see out of it anymore. It's really, really odd. It took me a long time to figure out that normal people don't see like this.
No, I get it. I think
but it's really interesting what the brain does.
There might be something
about building pathways, and like it realized because it saw one first, and then it went, "Hang on a minute, we've got another source here." Whereas the brain normally merges that into one image, and you see one.
I feel like there might be certain things to compare it to with quote unquote like standard 20/20 vision, where
possibly, yeah,
because I know that like when I'm looking like out of focus at something, it's like obviously your eyes brain deliberately blurs the thing that you're not paying attention to.
Yes,
but you're focused clearly on this one thing, and then it can kind of shift, and you can do that at will, like when you're daydreaming.
Well, yeah, I guess I've never experienced
right
never had an eye that can focus or a lens that could change focus. I've always had a fixed focus, so yeah, that interests me a lot.
It's mainly through daydreaming. Your eye
literally zooms itself and focuses everything to whatever you're looking at, but you must be noticing the bit around it where it's not folk. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Oh, it's fascinating, man. It's fascinating. Okay, so you mentioned that it's a spectrum, right? This is something I learned maybe like a decade ago. Because obviously there's jokes around it, like people don't understand, and obviously, as you say, you have to educate people. Because people will automatically assume, oh, blind, you can't see anything at all. And the first way I was introduced to it was there was an older lady who was a relative of a girl I was dating, and she had a guide dog, which is pretty common for people with like severe blindness. but she was still able to see certain things. And in my mind, I was like, oh, okay, that's strange. So you're not fully blind then? And she's like, no, it's like partially blind. I was like, oh, and then obviously I was like, oh, I see. It's like different levels. Why do you think there's not? I mean, I'll just ask this firstly. Like, why do you think there's not enough awareness out there? Maybe that like it is a spectrum.
It's hard. It's hard to pinpoint why and where, but I strongly believe that our education system and the way that it is currently run is an absolute mess. And I also feel like that, you know, that there's things that should be covered that aren't covered, and things that are covered that shouldn't be covered. It's just, I feel like, yeah, education for things like this should be starting young with children. Ability, awareness, equality. I mean, it all really boils down to that, rather, regardless of whether it's blindness or not. But yeah, it's very hard to. I think it's hard because also we're also depicted either as, you know, when you see something in a film or whatever, a lot of the depictions of blind people are the stereotype: white stick, black glasses. But they're not. They're not.
I mean, yes, it's rare. It's rare,
and
yeah,
we're all types of people, and we've got varying degrees. And yeah, I feel like it really boils down to the education system we're in rather than anything else.
It's also interesting. You just don't see a lot of it in society as well, because there was a lot that I learned growing up that I just didn't learn in school, and I was like, oh, that's weird. And for instance, sex education, big example. At school, just useless, really. You know,
it still is. The reports are it still is.
Also, like little things as well. Like, I know as a male, like I didn't learn about like female reproduction until like adulthood. I had to seek that out. They don't teach you that in school.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, no, I might not immediately deal with that, but like I might one day have a daughter, or I don't know, family members, or I might need to help someone with that. I might need to have an understanding of that, and they just don't teach you that. With blindness, I don't know like where I first learned about that. I think it might have just been like you see a person and they're blind and you get taught, okay, this is what blindness is. But again, no mention of the spectrum thing. Maybe, to be fair, maybe that's something that's come later in life, you know.
There's still such a deep thing rooted in it, in education for me. I mean, I went to a mainstream school through all of schooling. I feel it did me well because most people don't even know I'm blind because of the way I portray myself. I understand body language, like I was told when I was a child, you know, look at people when you're talking to them. And like, although I found those things difficult, I learned those things because I was in mainstream. But in some respects, I was also singled out. I had someone with me 24/7 throughout the whole of my school.
Oh, really?
From a young child to 16 years old when I left. I always had a teacher with me next to me, and they were my eyes. They wrote everything. They supported me with my work. But in some respects, brilliant. I had a great education from that because I constantly had someone there learning with me at all times. But I was also singled out from the general gist of what you would experience through schools, apart from the bullying, obviously. But I didn't have those friends circles and things like that. I didn't have that mingling because I always had someone with me that I had to behave for, and I also, my behaviour reflected their impact on them because they were there supporting me 24/7. I mean, yeah. I also feel like a lot of people that I know that are blind were singled out, as in taken out of mainstream and put into, personally feel, institutions that taught blind people, but they also like were kept away from society, which, you know, if we go back 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, even 100 years, it's pretty standard practice to push away the odd ones out and push them into asylums, whatever it was back then. But it feels the same for blind people. For a very long time, they were pushed away into specialist schools, specialist colleges. I was offered them at like the age of 11. Go away and be bored at a blind college, a blind school. And my mum was like, no, I want you to experience the world and not be pushed away from the world.
The more I think about it, the more I mean, I can't speak for the world, but like certainly the UK doesn't feel like it's really catered for blind people. Because when you look at
disabled people in general, and anyone that isn't normal, I mean, the whole schooling system, it's all about being the same, competing with each other and being the best. And then when you've got a disadvantage, you are left at the bottom. You are singled out. But they just want people for that hierarchy system in schools. And that's what they're programming, factory workers. It was all designed originally around the industries that they wanted to feed. They needed workforces like that. It's all designed for factory workers, really. Line you up on tables and keep you doing all the same thing and then compete against each other. Like it. I got big views about schooling.
Same. It doesn't equip you for life at all. I mean, we've had big discussions about it on streams before, where like things like taxation, home. Was it like life maintenance? Maybe that's a better way of putting it. There's this assumption that you just learn everything at home, and it's like not everyone has the same home life, buddy. Like not everyone has like the time, resources, parents that are able to show them everything.
It's just. I mean, I'm in this predicament at the moment. My partner's got a 14-year-old daughter. She's got neurodiverse problems. Absolutely. She doesn't fit into the normal system, and it's just been like banging your head against a brick wall. So we've finally decided that these are the most crucial years, and she's got to be pulled out, and we do it ourselves, our way. That focuses on her. So yeah, we are home educators now for a 14-year-old, but she's interested in music, she's interested in business, she's interested in all the things that she could create a career out of very quickly, and she's extremely talented. So I'm just going to give her all my knowledge and be like, but what this has done is spurred me on to want to work with young people. Like the education system has to change. I feel like my pathway and what I've done in my life to make the best out of the worst situation is like the best way forward. I follow, you might have heard of Bashar. I follow his maybe look him up. I follow one of his main mantras, which is do the thing that you love the most to the best of your ability, and that is all you need to do to succeed and have a fruitful life and have abundance. You literally just need to do the thing you love at the best of your ability. And that's what I follow as much as I can. And I don't particularly want to work for someone else. I don't particularly agree with this whole you get educated, you then go into a job and you work for someone else. We should be teaching people financial literate, be financial literate, to understand business and to understand how to take an idea themselves and create it into a bigger thing. That's what we need to be teaching our kids. So yeah, I plan to hopefully do that around music. So in the last few weeks, I've been working on launching a music academy for young people, which will hopefully help them get to a similar position that I am. I found a lot of therapy in music, and I'm following my dreams more than any other thing in my life. So yeah, hopefully
we'll
move on.
we'll return to the music because I want to kind of cover that in its own section. But it's got to pull up on this. See, you mentioned that you had someone with you throughout school, and I had a friend who had muscular dystrophy, and I remember it was the same thing. But I do also remember him being on his own here and there. You mentioned you got bullied. Is that right?
Yeah. So
okay,
I would have them there at most time, like through every lesson. So
right.
I'd go to meet my teacher, my teaching assistant. I'd just give her a name. She would love it. So I used to go and meet Trish every morning, and she was my teacher through secondary school. Um, but at breaks and dinner times, they would obviously go off and have their breaks and their dinner. So I would be then dumped in the fucking oh, excuse me,
It's
dumped in the
okay.
pool, dumped in the pool, and I had to kind of deal with all the ins and outs of school life. But I didn't have the kind of bits in between. I didn't have the friend groups. I didn't have. So yeah, there was a lot of bullying, um, walking through the corridors and being tripped up, having your stuff taken off you and thrown around the place, and just constant picking. I was in a very public community college, and the area was okay, but the people that went to it were quite troubled. It was known as a very troubled school.
So
So in one,
they knew you
my
were blind, and they still did
yeah,
that.
they knew I was blind because I constantly had someone with me at all times going,
Okay,
look,
yeah.
I was part of the VI department, the visually impaired department, and these teachers were a part of the blind department. You know, the people that were there supporting blind people. We had the odd like person with a disability or autism, but I think they had 3 or 4 or 5 students, and we were all VI or blind,
Hmm.
and each of them had one. So yeah, it was quite black and white. What was but my way to tackle that was to all my life I've introverted to deal with things,
mhm.
deal with trauma in my life. And that was one way I did it. I kind of went with the music, and that's what pushed me into the music, into drumming, and it changed my life. It changed the relationship I had with all these people that were bullying me. Because I tell you, once they realized what talent was there, none of them wanted to bully me again. They all wanted to be like me. Yeah, it was a very strange change. I mean, so year seven, um, I was into music. I played piano from the age of 8, and guitar from a little bit older, maybe. Yeah, and so I started learning guitar in my first year of secondary school. I found that quite difficult because of my sight, like following everything and too many things, or like too many small things all at once, and following music. So I pushed myself into drums, and that would have been around the time that yeah, bullying was quite bad. It had a massive detrimental impact on my mental health, and um, yeah, don't like to say it, but at a very early age, drug abuse,
Mhm.
because the only way to deal with the impact of what was happening, I wanted to find an escape,
Mhm.
and at that point, I hadn't found anything. But I went into drums. I started going into the music rooms, and rather than being out in the corridors and in the lunch halls and being bullied, they were like, okay, you can go in the music rooms. So I went in, I found the drum kit, I found the piano, I started playing them. But what would happen was all the kids would come and start watching through the little slits in the windows, until it got to a point where most of the school was in the corridor trying to get a view through the window at me drumming. So it completely changed this dynamic of who I was in the school. I wasn't just this blind kid anymore. I was this reasonably good drummer, even though I was very new to it. But within the first year I joined the band, I we managed to put some songs together, win multiple Battle of the Bands. Our first gig was a Battle of the Bands. Our first 3 gigs were Battle of the Bands. We won every one of them. We got on the radio very quickly with all the songs we were creating in the band. And yeah, the dynamic changed. I wasn't this like blind kid that was being bullied anymore. I was something clearly that everyone wanted to be.
Oh, there's so many directions I can go with this. It's always fun when you're in this position. Oh, okay. One thing I've noticed online that you do is you lean heavily into it. You're like, I am a blind musician, etc. You're very open and candid about it. It's something I can somewhat relate to because, as you can tell, I have a skin condition and it's led to my
Yeah.
my eyelashes going completely white.
Yeah, I was thinking you must have some sort of level of the same reaction from the public, let's
It's
say.
what I will say is that what I think it's twofold. I think society always picks on anything that falls from the conceived norm, which is interesting to me because like more people have conditions than you realize. It's just, you know, some things can be hidden, some things can't. But I always think like things shouldn't be hidden just because society is ugly. You know what I mean? And it is. I mean, that right there, what you laid out, people being horrible to someone that is struggling with something. Like, it's hard enough being a fucking teenager, like, Jesus Christ. But like having that as well as an extra battle. And like, I guess what I want to go into my question, if you like, is that like what prompted the decision to sort of lean into it and fully embrace it, as opposed to maybe not moving past it, because that's the wrong way of putting it, but like some people choose to say, okay, I happen to be blind, but this is me, whereas you're like leaning into it like, this is me, this is part of me, ask away.
It was a hard decision to make. I've been streaming on TikTok for more than a year now, just to change music, and it wasn't until I changed the name that people started staying and listening to my talent. But it took me writing on there that I was a blind musician to even get anywhere. I feel like TikTok is a very special platform in itself. Like, you need something extra to kind of get where you need to be on it.
That's true. I don't get anywhere, so I can relate.
But what led me to make that decision? What led me to make that decision was I had an interaction with some, like I built some relationships through the app. I built a small group of people, but there was one person in there that, I mean, we wouldn't go into detail of what's happened, but we fell out. In the short story, really, is we fell out. But the way that this person responded to me, and it just made me think of how blind society are to blind people. And the
ultimate irony, but yeah, you're completely right.
Me to go, well, this is me. Why should I have to hide myself?
Yeah.
If this is me, then why not? All these other people are on this side, like using whatever trauma, whatever crux, whatever thing they're using, they glorify it, add it as an extra thing to who they are, and bang, they've got people coming in. So I was like, let's try it. Let's see what happens. Immediately, instantly. I had 200 viewers in my room. And yeah, they were asking difficult questions. And I've got PTSD. I didn't initially respond very well. Did not respond very well. I've had to learn a lot about myself just through this process. But it's been eye-opening. I'm not sure if I will continue as the blind drummer forever. I feel like something will be created from it. And then it will be, you know, that persona will kind of be pushed away more. I mean, it's an interesting concept, but it opened my eyes. The amount of people that have come in and said, "You're not blind, you can do this," and the amount of questions, but a lot of the questions are genuine. What I've realized is society don't know how to approach stuff. Society don't know how to communicate properly and say hello to each other. So I approach it very candidly. Yeah, I'm like, hi, firstly, let's say hello to each other. Like, somehow it seems to break the ice. And then I just kind of reflect back to them. It's like I try and put a mirror up and I reflect back to them. What's actually happening here is not a conversation. It's just you having a bad day and you projecting loads of crap at people. And then somehow they see it, and most of them stay. But then the ones that do stay are usually the ones that are watching from behind going, I like this guy, I like the way that he actually looks at life. So necessarily, it's not always the sight thing that captures people or the drums. It could just be how I'm dealing with it. But I've realized, yeah, society needs educating. But it leads on to a much deeper problem.
Go on, sorry.
People aren't aware of things like this, but they're not aware that there's difficult, like blind people have such deep difficulties with accessing things. specifically normal public services that you most people take for granted, booking a taxi. But currently, so this leads on to something quite passionate about that I'm quite passionate about equality, and that everyone gets an equal access to everything. Well, as a musician, I've been working with TikTok for a little while, and they approached me and asked me if they'd like me to be managed by them. So I started getting managed by them a few months ago as the blind drummer. So they've been overseeing these kind of interactions, and I've had pretty good response from them. The problem has been that we have an access issue with TikTok, quite a serious access issue. A lot of blind people that are accessing the app can't access it in the same ways as other people. And here's an example. So as a TikTok under the TikTok creator program, they've approached me and pushed me as a music creator to do a global competition with them called Music on Stage. Now that consists of multiple rounds. So there's regions that obviously it's worldwide. So we start off locally, we fight against each other, it gets whittled down. I managed to make it to the regionals. But once we got to the regionals, TikTok told us, you now need to be able to use this feature on the app. This will give you double points every night of the week. So every night that you're competing through the regional finals, you can get double points. And what they didn't do is roll it out to the app that's on the computer version of it, TikTok Studio. They did not roll it out to that, which means that for certain blind people like me, who can only access TikTok and stream through TikTok through this app, are not able to access the competition anymore. So I got to the regional stage and had a lot of investment put into me. But at regionals, I could not have access. I was put at an unfair disadvantage to the other users, and I couldn't continue in the competition. Although I don't want to be, pointing fingers at TikTok and being like, you're this, you're that, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. I feel like as a blind person, there's a huge access issue there. I've been stopped in my tracks because I'm using it as a disabled person, and I feel like things like that need to be talked about in public a lot more. I think if things like that were talked about in public a lot more, people might have a lot more awareness of what blind people need and what adjustments they need to be able to access things. Put yourself in the situation of someone in a wheelchair. You would need to make sure that there's reasonable adjustments in place for them to be able to say, get into your venue. Or shopping centre needs a lift, don't they?
It's funny you mention this because I can think of several examples even recently where venues just don't have a ramp, have a lift, anything. And it's a really good example. I went to a gig recently, and the area where the lift was, where this wheelchair user needed to get downstairs, was blocked. And I didn't work there, but I don't know, I guess I kind of looked like I did. And they were like, hey, can you help me get access to that lift? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then I turned around and there's two massive tables there in the way. So I had to move all this shit out the way just so they could get in the lift. And
I got a story and a half for you.
Oh my God. Go on, show your story.
DWP.
Okay.
Disability assessment. Knows I'm in a wheelchair because I've applied for disability benefits, explaining in a wheelchair for a period of time in my life as well. That's a whole other story. Go to this assessment to reassessment to have my benefits continued.
So is it physical assessments? You have to be there.
Physical assessment, face-to-face assessment.
Okay.
And I turn up, and they go, "Oh, you're in a wheelchair." Well, yeah, the meeting room is upstairs, and you're not allowed up there. Why can't I just use because you'll be a fire hazard. So we're gonna have to rebook this. There's me with obviously no money coming in, struggling to get anywhere. I've had to go, they make you jump through hoops just to do these assessments. They put it on the in the outskirts of a city that's not even yours. If I'm in Nottingham, they'll put it in Peterborough. I'm Peterborough, they'll give it in Nottingham, and it'll be on the outskirts. So you got to get to Nottingham, get a taxi there. Like, you've done all of this, and I've done all of this, got out, and they've gone, oh, you know, you're a fire hazard, you have to come back. And they had to rearrange it for a ground floor room. They're like,
but surely, like, you could sue them for discrimination. That is blatant, right off the bat.
This is the point I'm trying to make. You believe that we've got protection over discrimination,
but we don't. Yeah,
find a solicitor that will do discrimination cases. They
won't take it. Yeah,
nowhere. No, I've been discriminated by colleges that won't provide material in an accessible format.
I guess it
discriminated by a landlord that just won't send me stuff in an accessible format.
Wow.
Like, nobody will pick up these cases. There's a law, yeah, but it really is black and white, and it comes into play when there's like maybe a statutory body or a public company employing someone, and then they discriminate them in employment. Like, there's loads of case law on employment discrimination.
Oh yeah, they find ways around that.
Actual real discrimination, like, I'm trying to access your service and I can't. No one will fight those cases. No one will fight them. So in reality, we've just got to accept it. Like Uber, I have a huge problem with Uber. I have an assistance dog. Try and book a taxi with Uber,
and they won't allow you.
Drives off. They see the dog, they drive off. They literally speed off away from you. I have video after video of them doing this. But try and get anyone to fight that, they won't take them on. Try and put them out publicly. So if I try and out TikTok now publicly, and I become really, really, really harsh on it, like, they'll just close my account down and stop all my following. They'll stop me connecting. They've already they do it. I speak about this stuff, my views go down.
Yeah, they've got shadow banning, don't they?
Yeah. And I want to work with them. I really do. And I really want to work through management to get a conversation. But when I've heard stories like another blind couple on there they've got, I think they've got hundreds of subscribers. They have 500 people in their room at all times. Completely blind. They're brilliant singers. They're like, we will not do any campaigns anymore. We will not do them. They would go so far in them. Their life would be changed forever if TikTok would just sit there and meet with them. But the report is they've been waiting for an accessibility meeting since January, and no word yet. You know, they literally could go very far and have a deep career on TikTok alone if TikTok would sit and talk to us. Anyway, I don't want to spend the whole talking about TikTok, but it's very important. I think that the point I'm trying to highlight really here is awareness of the disabilities goes much deeper than just what they are, and people having an awareness of what they are. It's how limited we are in the world at times, and how limited we do feel, and then the impact of that on our like, that's had a huge impact on my mental health all my life.
I took a part-time job recently at a hotel, and it's a chain. I won't say.
We got any hotels left?
And one thing that struck me, it kind of caught me off guard, but it made me think, was they have Braille menus to hand. They're just there. And I was like, oh, awesome. And then it dawned on me, like, every restaurant I've like ever been to, just, I mean, I to be fair, I've not asked, but like, it's not something advertised, that they don't say like, oh, available, because I know it's not just Braille as well, but like, you can get like audio adjustments sometimes, can't you? Like some sort of spoken out version or something like that.
Most of it's large print or a Braille version. I mean, I think most of it would be large print. Have you got a large print version of your menu? I'd 50% would have one.
That's good.
More than 50% would have one. But yeah.
Is it more chain or is it independent?
Chain would definitely have one. You go into custom mass for a menu, they will have one that they can hand to you and you can read. It still might not be perfect, but like, at least they have that sort of reasonable adjustment.
Yeah,
that's what they should be doing. But yeah, there are places that are more advanced than that. I've don't know if I've ever found one with an audio menu. But
A
simple way to do it is to have a menu online that's accessible digitally, because then we have accessible software on computers and phones we can then use to access it, or Zoom. Or like sometimes I can use my phone as a camera zoom, and I'll zoom into menus behind the counter and things like that. Like,
I guess
there are other ways.
Yeah, I was thinking like maybe dictaphone style, or text to speech style, where you could have like your, let's say you got headphones in, and there was like an option in the menu where you could click it and it kind of dictates the menu to you, like, and reads it out, so you could actually like fully understand like everything that's in it, and oh great, cool, and you could skip.
That's
so like
amazing.
Do you know what I mean? Like it was something like that. I don't know how that would work, but maybe something like that.
I mean, I think it's something. I don't think there's enough people building technologies and building solutions to fix these problems and to bring awareness to these companies that it's very, very simple to fix. You just take a bit of time to do it.
Now there's a business opportunity right there for the future. Make it happen. I'd invest in it. I'd invest in that. Like if you, because I think that's the problem, isn't it? Like society is too catered to anyone that doesn't have a disability, and it's like I think you don't see the problem until it's presented to you. Like best advert I ever saw that highlights this perfectly was a flip reverse situation where people in wheelchairs were the dominant. Like society was catered around them and not for people that can walk. And it was perfect visual metaphor for it. And it's like, oh, that's what it's like. Because I can't count how many times I see someone in a wheelchair and they speak to someone at like the front desk, and there's like, oh yeah, sorry, no ramps. There's no way to get upstairs. It's like end of dialogue, and it's like, what? Like this is a big problem. And I understand you can't just like rebuild the fucking bit of building, but that does represent an issue.
You know, we've also got public services that can't even keep up with it either. We've got people like that are being left on trains because they can't find a ramp. We built a system that doesn't work for disabled people. Buses that, like, I'm not even allowed to get on in an electric wheelchair if I haven't been trained, if they haven't given me a license. Now you have to get a permit to go on a scooter and a proper big electric wheelchair. So we have to be trained. We have to. I would be refused if I went onto a bus in a scooter that would fit on, like a mobility scooter. They would say, no, have you got a permit for that?
What the fuck?
I know. It's madness. It is madness. Like, and that's the public services that we're in. You know, it's insane. And another accessibility issue that I'm just facing, supporting a friend to go on to universal credit. Well, they've gone through the whole system. Yeah, it's all online, brilliant. Like, they can use their phone, they can access it, whatever. Get to the health questionnaire part, and it's just a form that gets sent in the post. How can a blind person fill in the form? They've got to then go through all these other steps. Like, why can't that form be provided in a digital format? There's like an act, there's a law that says by a certain date, all forms by government bodies and public sector companies should be provided in an accessible format, a digital format, alternative to everything else. Yet why is our benefit system, which is 99% digital, but as soon as you get to the health part, it's just an archaic form they send you?
I don't know.
The whole system, like, it's really deep. It's really deep.
It's the same as like trying to get an appointment at the fucking GP, and like our system, like for anyone listening who's not from the UK, this is how our system works. I shit you not. Pretty much every GP only does same day appointments, so you have to book a day off work and then wake up on that day before 8 a.m. so that you can be on the phone at 8 a.m.
You've got to start the phone call at 7:59 to start ringing them, because if you miss that first spot,
15th in the queue.
Ours is
And that's it. You just wait on the phone until they can give you a same day appointment. Think about what I'm saying. So if you're 15th, 20th in the queue, you could be waiting hours to then either be told one or two things. Either one, oh yeah, we can do you an appointment today at like 3 o'clock, and now you got to wait like 4 or 5 hours until then, right? Or you wait and you wait and you wait and you get told, oh, I'm sorry, there's no more appointments today. You'll have to rebook or recall. What the fuck?
Yeah. Or the other option, which is the receptionist then goes, well, what's wrong with you? And you have to explain it all to them, for them to make a judgment whether you can have an appointment or not. Yeah, that's my surgery. If you don't get in the top 3 callers within 1 minute of 8 o'clock, you don't get an appointment, because we're quite a rural place.
But hold on, like, who are they to dictate whether or not you... I mean,
I know,
the fucking doctor should be the one to dictate that.
I know. And then the appointments even after that. Yeah, I'll get the doctor to phone you. You'll then get a message from the receptionist. That's clearly like the middleman, because the doctor's so busy. Can you send a photo of the thing that you want to show the doctor? Can you send me a photo of it? And I'll show the doctor, and then I'll tell you what the doctor said, and I'll send it back. Yeah,
that sounds ropey.
We're constantly getting go to the pharmacist, go to the pharmacy to get stuff checked. Like, it's insane.
Can you get stuff checked at the pharmacy? They're not doctors.
Yeah, you can. They're actually much more well trained than a GP in medical conditions. If you've got things like ulcers or things that you would normally be like, what's this? Go to the pharmacist first. They'll look at it and they'll say, I think it's this, or they'll say, I think you need to go to a doctor to just double check. But most small things they can deal with nowadays.
Even I might look into that next time.
Antibiotics.
Yeah.
Themselves. So like they can make the decision themselves and prescribe them for things like urine infections and things like that. So yeah, it's quite good.
You know what? You're bang on, because I remember I got prescribed something by the doctors and it was very unclear, the information. And I think I tried to contact them and it just didn't work or whatever. There was an issue and they just told me like, oh, call your pharmacist. And so I called the pharmacist, and like you said, the pharmacist was fantastic. Like,
brilliant.
It was the classic thing of like the box said, take it. Like I couldn't discern whether or not it was take it every week or take it like every 2 weeks or something like that. And I didn't want to like overdose, obviously. So I'm like, what do I do? And I called the pharmacist, and the pharmacist, same as what you just said, had taken the prescription before, so they knew, and they just knew because they're trained. They were like, oh no, you get a certain degree of choice over how much you take it. And I said like, okay, well, could I take it like every week the same day? And he's like, yes. Or you could do it like
a lot more knowledge over the usage of it.
It was brilliant. He gave me like at least 3 different options of what I could do. I was like, oh, brilliant. Thank you.
I always try there first. Always.
There you go. It's a bit of a gold mine of advice right there. Check your pharmacist out. You mentioned TikTok and sort of your audience on TikTok and obviously the ignorance and stuff. I want to have some fun. So in terms of the questions, let's go with the obvious one. What are the most common questions you're getting? I know there's going to be obvious ones, but maybe there might be some surprises.
Yeah. How do you switch your stream on? How do you go live? How do you click the button to go live? How do you drum? How do you drum?
How do you drum? That's a very broad question.
I always respond to that one with, well, I've got arms, legs, and brain, and I think it's those things I use to drum, not my eyes. But I understand the questioning. Like most people,
right.
Their eyes, they really do.
What they mean to ask is, okay, as a blind person, how can you play
remember where they are? Yeah.
And well, yeah. Right.
It's muscle memory.
This is actually something I wanted to ask you earlier. You often hear that with blind people, their hearing tends to be better because obviously you're more focused on honing that sense. But however, you have to hone that sense and work on that sense.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that? Like, do you have better hearing, or because you've said like
Yeah.
you've battled quite a lot over the years, back and forth, focusing and putting a lot of attention into working with your eyesight and what it's been over the years. So how is it for you? What's your hearing like?
Yeah, I would definitely say growing up, pre musical career,
Hmm.
perfectly brilliant hearing. I would hear stuff that was like, I would hear TV, like the TV sound, like I would hear electricity. I would hear electronics and things that other people wouldn't be able to hear, like monitors. To me, I would hear them. I'd hear that
Wow.
frequency. But I'm a drummer.
Right.
I'm almost a drummer that never protected his ears correctly,
Ah.
which I would put out there. Disclaimer: protect your ears at all costs. Like any music, even in the music venue, I would say, think about protecting your ears. They are extremely precious, especially if you lose these. Um, I have damaged my ears, and quite considerably through not using ear protection when I was, a young musician playing drums, and it was as loud as I could get it, and the louder the better. And I kind of wish I didn't. As a sound engineer, it's very important that I've got hearing. Um, I'm trying to represent a stereo image from two speakers. If these are hearing different frequencies because some are damaged in this ear and some are damaged in that ear, it's very difficult to actually mix a song on properly, as a sound engineer. So what I have to do, I went and had hearing tests, and I am on the brink of hearing loss. I'm literally on the brink of having hearing aids.
Wow.
Um, what I have to do is tune my speakers to my ears. So I know I've got certain hearing frequencies lost in one ear, like some on this ear is much higher because of the cymbals that I had on that side when I was much younger and performing. Um, and this one has a lot of bass loss. This one has a lot of high loss. So I have to adjust my speakers. And I didn't until I understood that my ears were hearing things slightly different to each other. And I adjusted my speakers to that slightly by putting slight adjustments. I couldn't mix anything. Every time I was in the studio, it sounded awful because I was mixing to my ears. So everyone was hearing the compensation of, so that, yeah, to me, it sounded perfect. To everyone else, it sounded gash. Like, why is everything mixed to that side? And why is all this mixed to that side? I didn't realize that I had quite considerable hearing loss.
Wow.
And that is a result of exposing myself to high pressure sound pressure for too long. I performed in but when I was younger, I think at one stage I performed in 7 bands at the same time. Gigging, practicing. I was doing multiple hours a day. That's why I can perform so much on TikTok now. I do about 5 hours a day of drumming still. Most of that's on TikTok at the moment. But yeah, back then I was moving equipment, traveling to another gig. Sometimes I'd do 2 gigs in one night. Yeah, I never stopped. But all of the impact of that, practicing, like never protecting my ears, has had a huge impact. So I will be a deaf-blind man. Absolutely going to be. I'm already a deaf-blind man. I can't hear my partner whatsoever. She's right next to me. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're saying.
Wow.
But then in some respects, I also still have frequencies that are very high, like I'm very sensitive to. So there are sounds that will just go through me and I cannot deal with because they're so loud. But then there's other things that happen that block it. So yeah, I do now have quite considerable hearing loss, which is quite hard when you want to be a sound engineer.
Wait, yeah, are you able to continue to
But
be a sound engineer?
to an extent, yeah, to an extent. A lot of live sound is mixed in mono.
Oh,
You
handy.
don't get a lot of stereo output live, so that isn't too much of an issue. Plus, my performances don't rely on me mixing stuff. Like a lot of when I'm performing on the stage, my stuff's mixed by another engineer. And yeah, it serves me enough to do the work I need to do in music and production. But I've always been trained to never mix my own stuff anyway. I was always trained, give it to another set of ears, and then when you master it, give it to another set of ears because you'll get the best results.
Now,
So I don't need it now. Just to be able to communicate with people would be good.
fair enough.
I
Obviously,
don't think I'm going to be able to sign or read some language.
So
Yeah, I find, yeah, I make quite a lot of humor out of my sight and stuff. It took me a long time in my life, but, um, it is what it is. Like, if you don't make fun out of everything and everything becomes so serious, like, you're never going to have a good time.
it's a good
Because there's
mantra
always
for
going to be a
life.
problem, isn't there? Well, I can't do that because of this. Well, I need this. Well, I need that. Well, just get stuck in and do it. And that's all that matters.
Fair play. There you go. Great advice for life. Obviously, it's one thing to play drums on your own and to find a way to do that, being partially sighted, and
Mm.
the battles that you're facing with hearing and everything in between. To perform live, obviously, whole other ball game, like in bands and stuff. Like, so much of the
Yeah.
performance tends to be being able to see the other musicians and sort of accordingly adjust yourself. And obviously drumming is all about timing. As we know, in a band, you are like the centerpiece, you are the thing that keeps everything together,
Yeah.
the glue. So how have you managed to do that over the years and communicate with other musicians on stage despite being partially sighted and everything?
Um, so in some respects, I would ask for adjustments to be made. So at first, yeah, I found it quite difficult. My bandmates would support me. I think the one main thing was a lot of my bandmates were good, long-standing friends from school, albeit a lot older than me. I spent a lot of time with them by the point of gigging. And they knew my concerns and what the problems were and stuff. So they would, walk me on stage. It would look all natural. It just looked like we were walking on stage. But to me, they were guiding me on and helping me with like making sure I wasn't tripping over a cable or like, but also I would ask for slight adjustments from the venues. So because I had my contact lenses removed, you actually have UV protection in your eyes. So for most of my life, I saw UV, and to me, you depict it as a black light because to
Mm-hmm.
you it's black and everything glows up that is reflected by it. But for me, I actually see the rays of color
Wow.
from the light, which is actually really deep purple. Like so, instead of seeing black in a black light, I see deep purple. So instead of pure black, it's absolutely vibrant purple to me. So everything becomes purple. So I used to say, like, would you mind switching the UV lights off? I would ask them to have fixed lights on me so that this all the stuff was going on around me, all the lights, all the blah blah blah. But to me, there was always a fixed light source on me. So yeah, I might have looked like the drummer with a big spotlight in, but it gave me enough light to be able to do what I could do. I also did not have this double vision problem, and there's too much light going into my eyes at the time. So um, I don't really know what it would be like to be on a stage again since I've had these
Okay.
lens failures, and I've had the double vision. But I can only imagine that it would be absolutely insane. I know that traveling in a car at night is just like because I see
Oh, of
double of
course.
everything.
Yeah. That's got to be
And
like,
and everything's like stars. Like I see like they're like laser beams coming off every light in my eye as well. So I get a lot of I think you get that a lot with astigmatisms. If you've got an astigmatism as the viewer, like you would be able to relate to these star-like lights. Well, I get it from like the tiny little lights that are on power supplies and things. So I'm walking through the house at night and it's pitch black and I see a little power light and there's a big bright green star in my eye. But I see multiple of them. So I've got four big bright green stars in my eye. So yeah, going on stage now would probably be quite difficult. I might have to wear complete black, like dark, extremely dark black glasses. Um, and I'd probably trip over things a lot more. But I would just ask for adjustments or work with people that know this problem and they would be able to support me in a way that, you know, I'm definitely not going to be the blind drummer that walks on stage with a white stick because I don't need that much attention. But yeah, maybe it would bring awareness to people. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I would fare now currently. So that's the next challenge is getting to back to live performance is a real big need for me inside. Like I've truly found myself again back in music. It feels like I lost myself for many years, and music is the only thing that I know is true to me. In fact, so much I wasn't originally named James Music. I've actually changed my full name to James Music because I feel like music is the only thing that truly means something to me deeply inside. And the only thing I know is true in myself is music. So I've tried to adopt that in my therapy journey and move forward. And I'm James Music now. I am Mr. Music.
Beautiful, man. Thank you for sharing. Who has served as, or who or where do you draw inspiration from?
Obviously there's a whole host of drummers that from a drumming point of view. But I spend a lot of time trying to understand people and their minds and their emotions and what they mean. So I draw a lot of inspiration from people, I guess. Musically, obviously, it's some specific drummers and bands that I grew up listening to and music that like we hear, but I'm not really necessarily set on one genre. I grew up listening to a lot of like 90s noughties kind of rock, metal, indie, punk, kind of the alternative scene, popular and kind of underground as well. And I've taken a lot from everything. But in terms of drummers, some of the biggest influences I have are people like Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, a multi-instrumentalist that also played for Nirvana. Taylor Hawkins is another big interest of mine. But there's also some extremely other influential drummers from like the 80s and 90s. Bill Bruford played for King Crimson. And someone who I am meeting in a couple of weeks, Thomas Lang. You probably won't know him by name, but the people that he has worked with, he has been one of the top session musicians in the world for many decades now, and he has worked from everyone from Boyzone to Bewitched to like I don't know, Megadeth. Like he's what I'm saying is he's covered every genre, and his discography is just insane. He has also created a drumming school where he coaches people, and he's done that for many years. And he's finally coming back to the UK, and I have a rare opportunity to meet him. So in a couple of weeks, I'll be meeting my idol and speaking to him for an hour, and then doing a 4-hour masterclass with him. So yeah, things are going very well at the moment. I am meeting my influences. I've met Bill Bruford multiple times, Billy Cobham multiple times, and these are all people I draw quite a deep rooted kind of passion of music, and my influence comes from all these places.
Right on, man. Awesome stuff. Glad to hear it. What advice could you give to other blind musicians, based on like the challenges you've faced and how you've kind of fought through it and where you are today?
I guess my advice doesn't just go for blind people or anyone with a challenge or anyone. I mean, being a musician is just the challenge in itself. Just be true to yourself. You don't need to follow in the footsteps of other people to feel successful, I feel like is what I want to say. I spent a long time in my career feeling like I needed to get to a certain level before I would allow myself to enjoy it. Like it felt like I needed to be something before it was actually happening. But really, what I learned was the process of getting there is the most important part and the most enjoyable part. And if you put too much emphasis on the future of what you're trying to get to, like if you create a product, and nothing will feel right until you've achieved that product in your head. So for me, it's like learn my best advice for anyone is learn to enjoy the doing part of it. Learn you are doing it. You are a musician. You don't need to get to this point to be seen as that musician. You are successful because you are doing it. That's the most advice I could give to anyone trying to do anything, not just music. Which really goes back to the what I said. I follow this guy called Bashar, not religiously, because it's a bit here and out there. Apparently, he's channeling an extraterrestrial being that has all the knowledge of everything. But the words and the way that he portrays this is what I follow. Do the do the do the thing you love most to the best of your ability, and that is all you need to do for abundance and success. And that's all I apply to life. So it's the same. Do the best to your best of your ability. Do the thing you love most to the best of your ability. You will never work a day in your life or feel like you do.
That's the dream. Certainly what I'm working towards.
And I guess my other advice would be through challenges and stuff. I mean, most people want to like skirt around it, go around the edge of things. Like they come up to something that stops them in their tracks. They either try and go up and over it, they either try and go around it, they try and dig under it. But there's this big thing still in the way. The only real way is literally carving that channel through the blockage, because you will come out the other side and it will never be there again. You've made the channel, you can go back and forwards. Like that's my other advice to anyone trying to achieve something that they feel that there are these barriers in the way. There truly aren't, because the barriers are the barriers are the places you learn and the places you strengthen yourself. Imagine trying to get through that blockage, round it, up and over it, around it. It's never going to give you as much strength as you would get by plowing through it and building that hole, punching through it, and having a way back through, if it makes sense.
Yeah, but
That's how I try and look at life now.
What about if you're never making any meaningful progress? What about then? Because I feel stuck in my life. I feel like for all the effort I've put in, it's not really amount to anything. I'm in a worse position now 5 years later than I was then. Like what?
I feel like we're easily. I'm currently working on this process with a friend, Clint. He's on a TikTok, and every morning we try and come together at 11 o'clock, and at 11:11 we start saying affirmations for the day, and we go through these 10 affirmations that are very focused on you and self-care and treating yourself that you're doing okay. And we try and do these things, and I think as humans we don't believe that it is that simple to reprogram ourselves. We do something on repeat, right? So say you're a musician, you do one thing on repeat for 30 days. Ultimately, inevitably, you're going to be better at it at the end. Why aren't we doing that to ourselves about being kind? So I truly feel that when we're stuck in these situations where everything's getting to us, everything's at us, everything feels like it's being fired at us, we then turn that in and internalize that on ourselves. We become maybe slightly negative, but not saying you're consciously negative to yourself and like beating yourself up, but we do.
Oh, I am. I'll openly admit it. I try not to.
I feel like there is a level of that we need to recognize. You're recognizing those things so far. So I feel like the steps would be to start being kinder to self each day. And although at first you might not feel like it means anything, like I'm telling you, telling yourself something on repeat for 30 days inevitably goes in. Something goes in and something changes within that process. And I'm trying to practice that right now. I know it's extremely hard. It's extremely hard. Everything seems to be going wrong for me as well at times. But again, the only way is through. The only way is through the TikTok issues with accessibility, rather than me just walking away from it and letting it attack me. I'll go through it with my head held high, that like I'm being kind to myself still. I'm still doing the right thing, even though it stopped me from doing what I want to do right now, which was hopefully succeed in a competition. I'm still achieving something from this situation, which is wider knowledge of accessibility issues, wider knowledge of blindness, and maybe even TikTok want to actually fix the problem with us. And we come up with a solution where I can go next year's competition and possibly succeed. So yeah, I kind of feel like, going back to your point, I feel like as humans we're too harsh on ourselves, and we also don't see the the importance of practicing things on repeat, and that we can reprogram so much in ourselves just by telling ourselves and believing in those words. And a lot of words have become so empty in the world. I kind of hope that answers your questions. I know I spin about a bit on different things, but like, it's still, yeah, be kinder to yourself, man. It was a hard thing for me to do. It was a real hard thing for me to do. But regardless of whether it's going right or whether it's going wrong, you're still there and you're still doing it. And getting up every day, I feel like the biggest thing for me every day is a brand new day. It's a brand new possibility for achievement. And if it doesn't happen, I don't beat myself up. I didn't stream this morning. I've stopped beating myself up about it. It's not my problem. I don't need to be there every 5 minutes on every occasion. If I need that break, I'm self-care. So I'm going to feel a whole lot better tomorrow from it.
What's the best advice you've ever received?
That's a hard one. I'm going to have to think about that. I don't know. Probably always trust yourself. Always trust yourself, and never did for many years. I always trust your instinct. Yeah. I guess I don't take much advice from people. Maybe I need to work on that bit.
Oh, it depends what the advice is, really, isn't it? Sometimes it resonates, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it doesn't relate. I don't know. There's a lot to it.
I guess the basis of this is always follow your true instinct. Always follow your heart, and your true instinct is kind of the best advice I've ever got from someone, I guess.
What's the biggest life lesson you've learned so far? Biggest life lesson. I guess that I am the most important person in this world. And yeah, I guess that's my biggest life lesson, is learning that I am the most important person in this world to me. And nobody can ever, I can never be that important. Like, I'm not explaining it very well. No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
My dad says something similar. He says, you are your own best friend. You know, like from the moment of birth till death, like you know yourself better than anyone else. And as you were saying there, like no one is ever going to be, you're never going to be as important to anyone else as you are to yourself. Yeah. Solid stuff. Final question for you, in what's been a fantastic show. Do you have any upcoming projects or final thoughts that you'd like to share with our listeners?
I think you've already asked the questions, which would have been final thoughts. I would say believe in yourself, no matter what you're trying to do, and no matter what hurdles are in front of you. Like, my life is a testament, and it's not been perfect, and I've got a lot of trauma from it. But the only way is through, and the only way is to believe in yourself. So you've kind of asked me those questions to get that out. I mean, future projects. I've just launched a music academy. It was going to be launched on TikTok fully, but I'm having to kind of stem away from TikTok, some of all the issues that I'm having with them. But I'm launching a music academy for young people And really, it's open to anyone that seeks therapy and music in any way, shape, or form. And I will be providing all my providing teachings for all my services. So, music production, music composition, drumming, drumming lessons, and also will be supporting people to kind of follow similar pathways to me if they're interested in streaming. I would also help them, mentor them through a streaming pathway so that they eventually get to where they want to be in their career. And I will teach everything that I know about the challenges I've faced and how I've tried to, get through them. So I guess it's teaching in a different way. It's not sitting there learning grades in music. It's about the industry. It's about learning from the experience of others, not just in music, but in many different respects. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So the music academy is the main thing, but I've also got 30 years experience in computer programming.
Wow.
So I'm launching myself as a software engineer. Yeah, just need to go to my main website, which is jamesmusic.uk, and I should have all the links literally launching in the next week. So there'll be multiple websites and stuff there. You can connect with me musically, as a software engineer, or just as someone you're interested in chatting to. So yeah, that's me.
Is there anything you don't do? God damn. Brilliant. Love it.
Yeah. Apparently do the washing. That's do the washing. I was like, please give me that one.
That's what I really care about.
Everything else you need.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Yeah, no, I'm really, really pleased that you invited me. I feel like it was an opportunity waiting to happen. It's really odd that I've seen you on the app a few times pop up, and I'm like, oh, that'd be interesting. One day I might get someone, and then randomly it happened. I actually came into your room a few times, and then one of your viewers mentioned it to you. And maybe you should have a chat to this guy. So yeah, I think it was meant to happen. So
there you go.
Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, if anyone's got any further questions, I've got an email address, james@jamesmusic.uk. Just fire me an email, and if you want to work together, I'm open for everything.
There you go. Solid stuff. Thank you so much,
Christian. If you want any support with anything, let me know. There's a lot of things I do.
I'd love that. I'd love to get together and do something. That'd be brilliant.
Definitely. Cool.
Thank you, sir. It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor, and
thank you very much.
I wish you the very best. To all the listeners of the Christian Reeve podcast, I hope you enjoyed this show as much as I did. If you want to see bonus content, bonus episodes of the podcast, and everything in between, support the podcast. You can do on patreon.com/Christian Reeve. I will make sure that all the links to James's stuff are included as well. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you all in the next one.